Good day, everybody. So, I wanted to talk a little bit more about the Ethiopian military operation, the federal Ethiopian and Eritrean military operation that has taken place inside of Tigray. So, if you were to listen to, say, Al Jazeera or a host of other media outlets on or around November 4th, 2020, they would have you believe that there was this sudden and unprovoked attack by Tigrayan militia units against the Ethiopian federal army forces located inside of Tigray. And that is simply not true. At the same time, there are reasons for everything. And prior to the events on November 4th, there was an influx of Ethiopian federal police, federal armed forces. There were movements of Ethiopian forces, federal forces, near the border of Eritrea. And those movements were of more loyal forces to the Addis Ababa government than to the Tigrayan state forces proper. So the Tigray government was seeing, especially in the northern command headquarters of Mekelle, upwards to 6,000 troops that had been moved into Mekelle that are not normally there. They were also seeing not just federal forces, but groups such as Amhara militia, Amhara quote-unquote special forces militia, that were moving to the border of Tigray. There were movements of Eritrean troops closer to the border of Ethiopia, aka Tigray. So the Tigrayan militias were seeing this occur. And instead of waiting for what was going to be most likely a heavy-handed military operation, the Tigrayans acted preemptively. They seized control of the Northern Command headquarters, and they let approximately 6,000 troops, federal troops, who were normally not living in Tigray. They were of a different ethnic group. They let those soldiers leave. They made them surrender, and then they booted them out of Tigray. So Soon after that, within days, the Ethiopian government announced that it was conducting a quote-unquote law enforcement operation. It was not a law enforcement operation. This was a very large-scale military operation in which we saw forces coming from provinces south of Tigray, and we saw forces from Eritrea enter Tigray itself as well. And it was a very large operation with tens of thousands of Ethiopian federal troops. Ethiopia would have to prepare itself for such an event. There would have to have been a massing of forces for the Ethiopian government to respond so quickly after the events of November 4th. And the reason they were able to respond so quickly is because they were preparing for this operation. This was going to happen. Whether the events on November 4th occurred or did not occur. I think in terms of what took the Tigray militias by surprise was just how significant the help was from Eritrea, as opposed to facing a kind of a one-front conflict. They quickly found themselves being attacked by an independent state actor in the form of Eritrea. And given how quickly that occurred, preparation had to occur. So that means that the Addis Ababa-based government was working with Eritrea in preparation for this operation. If there would have been a military operation, say, 30 days after the events on November 4th, then I would question, then I would say, okay, well, maybe the Ethiopian government was not prepared. They didn't see this coming. But it's just the opposite. They were preparing for this. They were going to launch an operation to dismantle the localized governments that existed in Tigray. Abiy Ahmed wanted to remove the Tigrayan People's Liberation Front as a political opponent. That was the purpose of this. It was going to happen either or. If there was no attack by the Tigrayan militias on November 4th, this operation was still getting ready to occur. It was going to happen. And it was going to be done under the cover of a host of international events such as COVID-19, the American election, and a host of other issues that were going on. These issues were going to be the cover for this Ethiopian Defense Force Abiy Ahmed operation to remove political opponents. And I firmly believe that they, prior to the Tigrayan militia attack to November 4th, it was going to be simply an overwhelming attack that would have dismantled the internal apparatus of any kind of opposition within Tigray. They, meaning the EDF, could not have launched this operation that quickly unless it was actually preparing for it. They were going to move on Tigray whether the events on November 4th occurred or not. And it was not just EDF federal forces. They were being augmented by other ethnic militia groups opposed to Tigray, along with Eritrean armed forces.